that it's the analytics that won him the championship and not the talent on the floor. And certainly they acknowledge the talent on the floor. But I wholly reject that the Celtics leading the league in three-point attempts is related to their championship, or is rather the reason they won. I don't believe that for a minute. I think they had the best players. And if they played a different system or a different style, they still would have won. Because in that sport, as much as any other, it's not systems or styles. The Bulls won all those championships, Maz, because of what was the offense called again?
The triangle offense.
The triangle offense. Phil Jackson's triangle offense.
No.
Remember all that? How they remember the triangle offense? The triangle offense. Hello, dummies. You had Michael Jordan. So it's like, come on. But this is what happens. You win a championship like that, and the nerds that are on that team say, well, what did it? We live in an expected world. We don't look at the real numbers, the expected numbers.
Those were actual numbers. We live in an expected world. So.
Oh, my God. They just won the championship with actual shots and actual points. And he's still stuck on the expected points.
I mean, again, the whole thing is really stunning because what he's saying is, it comes off as anyway, it doesn't matter who the players are, it's how you play. And it's wrong. So he's got it totally ass backwards. They completely take the talent for granted.
So I think, Missoula is absolutely on the wrong side of this, I think. And I think it's what makes him a lesser coach. He's just coaching the numbers. I'm not a big fan of those guys in any sport. But make no mistake, like his worldview there has taken over. Expected points. The soccer coach the other night, expected goals. The Bruins talk about it all the time. Expected save percentage, expected goals, as opposed to the actual goals. And it's long taken over baseball. Expected batting average, all that. So, Bill James has finally said enough. Bill James says, we've fallen back into details. It's like our clothes have been caught in the machinery. We studied those, and again, he's talking about large-scale issues. He started his venture into sabermetrics to focus on the, quote, large-scale issues in baseball and other sports. And again, I just go back to a walk's as good as a hit. It's like, that even makes me. It's like, thanks, Bill. They told me that when I was 8. I got it. Yeah, I got it. I guess Major League Baseball sort of lost its way, and you figured out that undisciplined hitters have a worse chance, or getting on base is important. It's about opportunities and not giving away outs. Like, okay, I got it. But that's what he's talking about. Exactly what he's talking about. He started his venture in sabermetrics to focus on the large-scale issues in baseball. And he said, quote, we studied those with some success for a period of time. And then the field was hijacked by the computer guys. The vast proliferation and fascination with small measurements like exit velocity, pitch count, pitch movement, launch angle, etc. represents not the success of sabermetrics, but its failure. Its failure. We have fallen back into details, he says. It's like our clothes have been caught in the machinery. Analytics in baseball has been a failure. And I say that not by Maz, like it helping teams. Of course it helps teams. But it hasn't helped the game.
Oh, no, it goes farther than that or further than that. It's hurt the game. In fact, you could argue that it's in the process of destroying the game if it hasn't already.
So, they've tried to, the nerds, Theo Epstein, who was originally on the side of the analytics and one of the early pioneers of guys that bought into it and used it and was in that wave. He's long since, over the last couple of years, gone on the other side, and he was hired by Major League Baseball to implement new rules to sort of mitigate the effects of analytics. But they haven't worked. Maz, I know, did this on the Baseball Hour in the last couple of weeks. The New York Times wrote a story on this the last couple of weeks as well. So this is a little dated. It's a couple of weeks old. But as of late June, on its current pace, Major League Baseball is on pace for its worst offensive season ever. As a league, we're looking at 39,000 hits, which is more than 1,400 fewer than last year. 21,000 runs, which is more than 1,300 fewer than last year. Even the home runs are down. The doubles, 7,600, we're on pace for exactly 600 fewer than last year. Again, the fewest doubles, they're on pace for the fewest doubles in a season since before the 1993 expansion. Again, 2 expansions ago, writes Jason Stark there in The Athletic. It's the fewest homers since 2015, before the baseball got noticeably livelier. It's the fewest hit per games in a full season since 1968. Fewest hits per game since 68. That was the era with Bob Gibson and the mound and all of that, right?
Yep, the mound was raised, and it was a pitching year, and someone won the batting title with a 301 average in the American League. That was I think Gibson's ERA that year was like 1.68 or something like that.
That's what we're back to.
Yep, that's what we're back to.
Lowest batting average on balls in play since 1992. So, Maz, what do you think that's all about?
I think it's about the weaponization of pitching, for lack of a better term. This is what, Theo Epstein used that term, and I don't remember if he used it specifically with regard to pitching, but that's what it is, weaponizing the data. Pitchers now, look at the Red Sox. What have they done? They spin the crap out of it 60% of the time. They throw 40% fastballs. They don't get into hitters' counts anymore. And there's some great detail in that story, and it's a long story that Jason Stark wrote, the one that you were reading from. But there's some great detail in there about the number of different pitches guys throws, what the analytics do, the biomechanics and the biometrics, all of it, because this pitch moves this degree, this pitch moves from this arm slot that degree, this one moves 6 degrees sideways, this one drops a foot vertically, and they throw all these variations, and the hitters have no shot. That's what it is. It's all that freaking stupid-ass data with the graphic that we all see with the different lines and movements of all the pitches. And I joke about this guy, and I follow the guy on Twitter, so I love the pitching ninja. But when you look at it and see what a hitter has to combat, and he throws, 3 different pitches out of the same arm slot in the same tunnel, and they're all moving different ways. This is all the stuff that the pitchers are working on. The data for the pitchers is far more available than it is for the hitters. And Mike, remember that all these numbers are after they killed the shift. Okay? The shift has been taken out. It's gone. And the numbers are still plummeting. And this all popped into my head a couple of weeks ago. I'll tell you why. Because Rafael Devers and Vladimir Guerrero hit 3 home runs in the series between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays that traveled somewhere in the vicinity of 450 to 475 feet. Rafael Devers hit a home run at Fenway Park by a left-handed batter, frankly, that I have never seen before. Okay? It went farther than any ball I've ever seen at Fenway Park for a left-handed batter. And you know what I said to myself? They jacked the ball because offense is down. So they must have juiced the mother. They took a syringe, they shot that sucker up, and they put it into play because they have to find ways to get offense.
Well, and so the ball travels farther, but it's not in play any more than it is.
Correct.
Because I still think, yes, so the pitching, and this isn't pure sabermetrics, it's just more like optimization and TrackMan technology and just the hyper fine-tuning between analytics and, again, all that. But technology and just the hyper fine tuning of it. So the pitchers are ahead of the hitters, but the ball's not in play because they still preach launch angle and home run.
Correct.
So it's not like there are batters coming up to combat it by just trying to put the ball in play and get on base and make contact and all that sort of stuff. They're still not. No one preaches that. So the pitchers are getting better. The batters are still trying to jack it out of the park, and nothing happens. The only good news is nothing is happening quicker. This I did look up. 9-inning games are now down to 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Tremendous.
235 for 9-inning games. I think the average length of game overall is 237, but that includes those extra innings things. 235, and I looked this up this morning. It's the best pace of play for a 9-inning game since 1984. 1984.
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, again, nobody's getting on base on top of it all. So you have the pitch clock, and the outs are being recorded more quickly.
So nothing's happening, but at least nothing's happening quicker. That's the only good news, I would say. But the thing that Bill James started is helping to ruin the game and has ground the game to a halt and is going quicker, but still nothing is happening. And Theo's rule changes, other than the pitch clock, have not worked, have not made a difference. I guess there is more base stealing, Mass, right? There is because of the bases and whatnot, but it's not. So that's happening, but there's not more balls in play. There's not more base hits. There aren't any more runs being scored. There's just some guys taking second, which, again, I'll take. But we lost baseball to the nerds over a generation ago, and this is what they've done to the game. So It's a good day to revisit it with Bill James again defecting. We have a defector. Bill James, the original nerd, has come to our side.